Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Call of Duty Burned Spawn, brought to us by the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys, who will remain fine folks despite the fact that this figure has stirred up some controversy amidst Spawn and or McFarlane fans for good reason, but reasons that are easily fixable for those of you who have a hairdryer, an X-Acto knife, and the first McFarlane weapons pack, or the Commando Spawn from this very same Call of Duty line. That said, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and center this guy before he drives my OCD off the wall. Thought I already did that before I turned the camera on, but I guess not. Excuse me. We take a look-see at all he has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with the collectible trading card. Bio on the back. The reason Al Simmons is all burnt up is because he went to HE double hockey sticks. Could have found that out if you watched that old crappy Spawn movie. That said, as far as weapons go, we have three. We have big automatic weapon, medium automatic weapon, and the flippin' grenade launcher from the Grim Knight again. Like, they are really getting their mileage out of this gun. Not for nothing, we have more of these than we do Uzis to go with it. So I think it's high time we get some Uzi reissues, but it is what it is. Not to mention, all three of these guns came with previous Call of Duty spawns. So, a little food for thought there. And if you are so inclined to equip the holster he's got with a gun, I swiped this from Peacemaker, but this long-barreled pistol, or pistol with a silencer, will do. And if I'm not mistaken, the Commando Spawn from this line comes with one of these. So, you can have one with, you know, the black and the red motif, you know, a la Spawn going on. But this gun does fit. Not snug, mind you, but do you really want it snug? But you can slide it in here, and it will stay. It will fall out if you're not careful, but it will stay in there, despite the long barrel of it. But I do wish it stayed in there a little more snug. He does have a knife on his boot, but it appears to be just part of the leg. Like, I'm surprised there's not a pin going through this. Yeah, that's literally part of the leg. Where's the knee joint? It's like up here. It's like covering like the pin on the. Oh, I think there's the pin for the knee right there. Maybe. I don't know. Can't tell. But literally, you can't do nothing with this knife. So. That's that. He does have a hockey puck display stand we're using with all McFarlane Toys releases, though, and a decent soft goods little poncho thing going on. I do have his arm slid through this side just because I can. It's a little bunched up from when I had him posed, but yeah, I slide the arm through this just so it sits a little better on him. You can't do that on the other side, though. The other side, it's stitched the opposite way. So I don't know what's going on with that. If you are so inclined to undo some of the stitching, you probably could. I myself probably going to heat up this collar thing, this collar chain piece, and have it stretch out so it sits more flush against his chest. But other than that, and the fact that he wasn't looking straight, he's not a bad looking figure. Pretty sick head sculpt. I like the skull head sculpt there. Of course, he's got the double ball peg in the head, so he can look side to side. He can look up and down and tilt and whatnot. Actually, tilt. Yeah, he can tilt. You just gotta push it a little more. But pulling his hood back up. I can get it up. That's what she said. Is that what he said? You decide. There he is. As far as the rest of his articulation goes, we'll use this arm. Shoulders can go up and down. Not very tight on mine. Either side, really. They're just kind of smooth, but whatever. They will rotate back and forth. He's got that beautiful butterfly rotator cap. He's got bicep swivel. That works okay. Double elbow. Works okay. A little chonky, but it is what it is. His wrists are on ball hinges. So you can hinge them up and down. You can rotate them. And then you can spin the hand there. And one thing that a lot of people, myself included, are puzzled by is that he does not have trigger hands. He kind of has a trigger finger right there. If you can see that. Sorry, I was looking at my other finger, not this one. Thumb, finger, whatever. He's got a little trigger finger right there, but it's not separated enough. So when people go to put the guns in, they tend to crack them. So I don't put the guns in all the way. Now, if you were to swap these out with a more traditional looking Spawn from this line, you could probably give him some half-arsed decent trigger hands, but unfortunately, this is a rare instance where you will have to use a hairdryer and an X-Acto knife to make your own trigger hands. This side has even less of a trigger hand than the other. Again, I don't know why. That's really odd considering that when it comes to McFarlane, they almost always have a trigger hand, but it is what it is. I like the little spikes on the knuckles though. That's different from the other two. It said waist can rotate. That's pretty much it. You're not going to get much out of the torso. Hips can kick forward and back. They can kick out. It's just kind of hard to do. All this stuff on them. This side has the extra pieces for the pistol holster. So this side is really where you're going to get your kicks out of, but trying to kick it up is dang near impossible. There you go. You can kick his leg out about that far if you finagle the crap out of it. He does have a little tiny thigh cut, but not a lot. Double jointed knee. Works okay. And he's got the ball hinged ankle that will rotate, hinge, pivot, and then he's got the toe joints on both sides that aren't loose. Look at that. So that is your burned Spawn in a nutshell. He's cool. I like him, but I get why he's so controversial. You know, he's a McFarlane figure without trigger fingers, proper trigger fingers. That is weird because flippin' Zatanna from DC Multiverse has trigger fingers, and we all know she uses guns, right? No, she doesn't. I will just put this gun in here. And then as far as getting him to hold any of the weapons, I mean, you're kind of limited here. Whoop! You're kind of limited here, but if I do this, I mean, I guess the other thing you can do, since these are reused guns, you could just cut the trigger guards off. That'd probably be a little easier trying to cut the finger so it works as a trigger finger. But not for nothing, it is kind of hard to get him to hold anything because, once again, no trigger fingers. I find that this gun, I'll just take that out. I think this gun fit better over here. The heck with it. I tried. I lost patience. It is what it is. He's got a pistol in the holster. What more do you want? So maybe I'll have him holding that big rifle with 2 hands or something. But at any rate, or big automatic weapon, excuse me. But at any rate, ain't nobody got time to see me futz around with that. Because, so I get him centered again. Sorry, my OCD is off the chain today. But now it is time that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Burned Spawn alongside the other Call of Duty spawns we've received from Mr. Toddy Mac. We have the Tactical Spawn and the, I don't think he has a name specifically, but Call of Duty Spawn, the regular Spawn, with a wired cape that costs $30 instead of $60. Is that foreshadowing something that might go up tomorrow? Maybe. I guess you just have to stay tuned and find out. But at any rate, I would say of the 3, the more traditional looking Spawn is probably the best. He came with the most stuff. He's got the cape. You can take the cape off if you don't like it. You can even take those ammo belts off. And you have a pretty traditional but modernized looking Spawn. It's a pretty cool figure. I'm half tempted to put the hands from this Burned Spawn onto him because I wouldn't mind having melee weapons on him and just taking those bullet belts off and putting them on somebody else. But we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. Only time will tell. But they all pretty much use the same body butt, so maybe that's why some of the joints are tighter and some of the joints are looser. But I digress. That said, this Commando Spawn is like the gift that keeps on giving because he has like weapons to use with this guy. You can of course use him with the other Spawn. He's like a accessory pack in and of himself. But get them out of the way so we can bring in our 2 regulars. We have the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibleth. Right there. And the infamous 11 Spawn, who is probably about the same height as this guy. Yeah, they're about the same height. I want to say is a little taller, but he's not towering, that's for sure. I mean, how is he going to tower over himself? That's just stupid. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, aside from not coming with a firearm suitable for the holster on his right leg, and not having trigger fingers, which is probably the most baffling thing about this figure for me, because aren't trigger fingers a staple for anything McFarlane Toys, Spawn, DC, literally anything or otherwise? Pretty sure that freaking Lich King from World of Warcraft will most likely have trigger fingers just because it's a McFarlane Toys release. Not for nothing, that does sound kind of cool. Lich King packing heat. That's another story for another day though. But at any rate, despite the shortcomings, I like this figure. I think he's pretty freaking cool looking. I like the pseudo Grim Reaper aesthetic he's got going on, having the, well, it's really a poncho, isn't it? With the hood draped over that grisly looking burnt Spawn face, very skeletal in nature. On top of that, it's just a really cool figure, and if you already have the other 2 Call of Duty Spawns, then I don't see any reason why you should skip out on this one, especially since Commando Spawn does come with a gun that fits the holster on his leg there. So I guess if you have them all, you have enough weapons at your disposal to kit all 3 of them up and make it work. Just maybe heat up those hands and cut some trigger fingers into them before you try to force the guns on. I've seen a lot of people breaking them lately, and well, that's just stupid. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.